Hello, everybody. Hi, I'm Aastha Tatia. I'm your happiness coach. Welcome to Tête-à-tête with Movers and Shakers. Now, today, the guest I have with me is a very, very powerful lady. And I don't call her powerful, because of the position that she holds, but because of the many, many hats that she dons. So she is a very senior IAS officer. She's an artist. She's a writer. She's a photographer. And all of this is probably on the professional front. Equally important and, long is the list of her roles on the personal front also, I'm sure, being a woman that's there. So, let's join me in welcoming Madam Kiran Soni Gupta. Hello, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Aastha, for your kind introduction.
A very, very warm welcome, and thank you for sparing time. I know it's a hectic schedule for you, and despite that, given this time, you've come here for this interaction. Really a pleasure to have you. Great. So, I was going through your, all your accomplishments, all your interests, all those indulgences that you are into, and it just amazed me, being a bureaucrat, a senior IAS officer in itself is something which takes up a lot of time, lots of effort. And then an artist, a photographer, a writer. How did all of this happen? So I would want to know, and I'm sure all the viewers also want to know, how did it all start and reached where it is today?
Well, I basically belong to Punjab. And I studied in Sacred Heart from there. And while I was a student, in one of the annual functions of the school, I was to get 3 awards. So my parents were in audience, and I took 3 awards sequence. And the person who was giving me the awards was Divisional Commissioner and his wife. So I was in a very, very joyous mood. We came back home and happily celebrating the event. And then in the evening, when I was with my dad, I asked him, I said, tell me, what does a divisional commissioner do? And why were they only invited as chief guest for the function? And it was that time he gave me a concept of civil service, what a collector does, how you become a civil servant, and lastly you work for public. I was probably in class 6 that time, and after he told me, you know, in my subconscious mind, probably I thought this is the thing for me. It was not very explicit, but implicitly, I think something evolved with me from then onwards. And my father always encouraged me, my family, my parents, to have good education and to exploit all your talents and to come out. So my father encouraged me to take civil service. He would always, wherever they go, buy a book for me and come. And from one to another, we kept on, discussions at home. Of course, I had my elder sisters and one younger one. So it was a very, very, I would say, multifaceted as siblings. Each one very talented in their own right, both in academics as well as in other pastimes. So that led me, his encouragement led me to take civil services. And well, I was very happy and felt as if it was a great achievement.
So in the 6th standard,
yes,
saying
with standard, I think unconsciously I made up my mind that I have to. Although I kept on my studies and I had joined my doctorate when I took my civil services. But after clearing civil services, I was in the random allocation in 1985. I went to Kerala Kanda. It was my first exposure to South Indian culture. I had not gone beyond Nagpur. And I think that taught me a lot. And since then, it has been both a learning experience and very challenging times. You start heading very, very responsible positions as STM or sub-collector in South, they call it. then districts, then I came to Government of India after 5 years, and experiencing different culture, a part of your own country, different food, different language. You start from a scratch. I think everything was a challenge, particularly language, where you have to communicate. And our type of job, interacting with public, it's a basic thing that we have to get the pulse of the people to take decisions which impact their lives. And then I came to Government of India, and we had a cadre change and came to Rajasthan in 1994. And for 20 years, we worked in different parts of Rajasthan. I was collector Rajsamand and Ganganagar. I was divisional commissioner Jodhpur, Jaipur, Ajmer, Bharatpur, and a lot of other positions I held as important water regulation, as colonization and command area in Bikaner. So it was sum total, I think, although Rajasthan was very different from Kerala, which I worked, but I felt Rajasthan, the simplicity of people was very attractive. I like the local, you're going to the villages and working with, I would say, innocent people. You do not know what they're in for, what is good for them. Kerala, in fact, was the other extreme where people were highly literate, highly educated, highly aware, and they would question everything. It was sort of every decision was taken after a public debate. It was not like as a bureaucrat or a civil servant, you take a decision and go ahead. But now that didn't work in Kerala. But Kerala taught us many lessons, and I think was a great equalizing society. And then in 2014, I went to Mumbai as textile commissioner. And then I was there for 2 years. And then I came to Government of India as additional secretary, financial advisor to three ministries. And recently I came and I'm now heading. I'm the Director General for Johar Kala Kendra, which is a performing arts center. You already know. So I think the journey has been a great source of information, a great source of experience. And I would still say that public service is a very good as a career to the youngsters. Not because it offers you social status, it does, they're esteemed, but it gives you immense possibilities and opportunities to work for people, to do public work. And government puts you in positions where there's a leeway, lot of leeway for you to do decision making. So they trust you. They trust you that you are to act responsibly and take decisions in public interest. I think, and the wide variety of experience that it gives you. Years average, we have a shift. We go on to a new job. You get hardly 2 months to settle down and work in office, and then you start functioning. Not even 2 months at times. You are there and you fly out. So I feel for youngsters, it's very important that if they make a career choice, they should work towards it, and it is they will certainly not regret, but they should be prepared for a lot of challenges, challenging times, and particularly now, where the whole world is facing a challenge, say like COVID-19. I admire the officers who are working in the field, the warriors, the low-level functionaries who are there, whether in the hospital or police, in the heat they are functioning. I think we have to acknowledge that public service is a very, very important area for development of the country. And alongside my career as a civil servant, I had a very strong interest in academics, so pursued a mid-career program in US. We had masters in public administration and from Harvard Kennedy School and also from Syracuse University, and with a lot of certificate courses. I think that gave us another opportunity. Me and my husband, along with children, we were there on the same course. And that showed the other part of the world. I think higher education in US is very, very highly organized. Um, it changes your perspective toward things. The way they teach you how to analyze a situation through case studies, through live examples, through people who had had experience. I think it was again a very, very tremendous experience. Well, alongside my career, I always had a interest in art and painting. I started again from my childhood, and I pursued alongside. Whether it was you do get free moments. A lot of people ask me, how do you find time to do painting?
Yeah.
Well, there were certain postings where I had a long weekend when I was in Trichur in Kerala, and I was alone, family. I was not married, so it was basically how do I pass time? With the urge to pass time, I asked my servant who would come to help me. I said, "Go get me a sketchbook and a pencil." And she spent 3 hours and came back empty-handed. So I thought maybe I failed to communicate what I wanted, or maybe it was Sunday I didn't get it. And next day I went, looked for a shop, and I bought art material as if you're giving food to a hungry person. Started, I started, restarted, revived my art, and since then there's been no looking back. I painted, I held exhibitions both in Boston. I've showcased in Louvre my works, and now when your passion becomes your profession in the present post, I think it's sort of a bonanza for me. I've enjoyed every minute here and
Wow.
put together a lot of artists, a lot of performing artists, visual artists, a lot of events, a lot of research. I think I have really enjoyed this phase as well. So it has
And
been a journey of enjoyment on my personal front. Of course, again there were challenges when one got married and when kids are small. And between my husband is also a civil servant, Madhuka Gupta. So we took turns to take district because somebody had to take a lean posting to look at the children. So we always, alternated so that somebody is there to spend a little more time. But that's a short phase when children are small, young, very young. But once they're school going and they grow up, now they are on their own after school. They've gone for higher studies. My daughter's just finished her MBA in Booth, Chicago. My son is a filmmaker and a writer, and he's done his studies from Swarthmore College, Philadelphia. And altogether, I feel as a family, as an individual, as a civil servant, one has given its best to everything I've enjoyed, every moment of the life that I have lived.
wow, lovely, lovely. Great. So you spoke about some challenges also on the personal front, and I'm sure even on the professional front, there would have been phases where you felt, oh, it's not very easy, and maybe you felt, somewhere you were like, "Ye kyun ho raha hai? Why is all of this happening? Or when will I get a respite here?" What kept you going? And I'm talking this more from a leadership perspective. As a leader, you are faced with a lot of such challenges wherever you are. What were those traits that you would want to list down which kept you going and which have helped you evolve into the person that you are today?
I think as a civil servant, particularly your district postings, which are considered to be the prime part of our careers, and you are in a very leadership position. Everything that you think and do impacts people on a large scale. So as collector, I faced a lot of challenges, particularly law and order challenges, a lot of disasters, whether it was Mehrangarh tragedy in Jodhpur, or it was a Koda murder case in Ganganagar. There was a fire in Arms Depot in Surat during my time. There was a fire in the refinery here on Jaipur during my
Yeah.
time as divisional commissioner. like
Oh, okay.
and so handling all these disasters and law and order situations, whether it was a death in custody or there was a very well-known communist leader in Ganganagar who was murdered. So the role of police, the role of officers, the role of people. I think the best in such situation, your understanding of the situation is very important.
Hmm.
Two things help an administrator very largely. One is the knowledge of law, what can be done, what is doable, what is not doable, what people should do. And second is understanding the psychology of people,
Hmm.
whether individually or in a group. A group behavior or behavior is different. Group behavior is different. But if you keep up very good relations with public, I have seen public once they start trusting you, I think unilaterally they are with you. I've seen in Gujarat earthquake when there was a call from the government to do collections. This is I'm talking of 2000. It was in 26th January 2000 when the Bhuj earthquake struck, and I was in the middle of the program of 26th Jan, taking a selfie, and then I have found that people reacted. They acted so fast in mobilizing resources and help for them. And Ganganagar, people were there with me. I was discussing with the local leader that time. How should one go about collecting money, for the government for a cause? And he said, "Madam, please give a call and let us see." I said, "Call for a good purpose. Yes, I have no qualms. I can, and it's for public good." I just make an appeal to the people. Yes, it's time to help and whatever we can. You will not believe there was a queue of people with blank checks asking me to fill it. It was something very, very, something I never expected. I said, "No, blank checks, I'm not going to fill. You have to do what you can voluntarily contribute it." We did not collect check cash, we collected only the checks and the things in kind which were required there, only those things. So I think that again was the help which went from Rajasthan, from government also, other governments. It was very, very, I think, much needed, and we did it very effectively.
That's very moving. Yeah.
You know, and then I feel NGOs play a very important role. So as a collector, I feel relation with NGOs.
Hmm.
Very important. NGOs, they want work from you. You can use them in the areas where government finds it difficult to work, because government can't be 100% everywhere.
Yeah.
It does work on a very broader scale, but at times there are few gaps. So if your relations with NGOs are very good, the NGOs step in. That
Hmm.
helps in building an understanding, and your credibility goes up. And I have seen, people have so much of trust. Once that trust is built, people are out to help you. There was while I was in Ganganagar only, there was somebody called me in office. I was in office that, "Madam, something has happened in Suratgarh. The window panes are broken." The window panes are broken. Is there a storm? Is there a wind blowing or something? It never stopped. And then I was just thinking what could be the reason. He said, "No, you must inquire." And within 5 minutes, I get a message from police that there is a small fire. So there's a small fire. So we pushed all the fire brigades there. And I knew 16 kilometers, if you can hear, that is 16 kilometers away from headquarters. If you can hear the window breaking or something happening, you can imagine how big it would be.
It is
Disaster.
massive.
So I mobilized even the fire brigades from Punjab, which was a neighboring state. And I left that place to reach on the spot. So by the time I reached, there were 25 fire tenders. But these fire tenders could not be accessed because the fire had broken in the arms depot. Arms
Oh,
depot, you can imagine the arms. and they would not let me go in. Nobody was required. So I cut off all the electricity, I cut off all the transport, the canal waters, we reduced the water, everything we did precautionary measure.
Hmm.
And you will see that, and one day we couldn't go. Next day I insisted, no, I have to go see. And I saw it was a scene which probably I'll remember for my lifetime. No, it was like after the day of Diwali as a child, you would do so many crackers and the house is full of the remnants of those crackers. It was like that. But fortunately, there was no human loss, only a couple of animal loss, and a couple of huts were put on fire. There was a loss there, but very minimal loss. I think again in such situations, your own hunches, your understanding, your reading of the situation, your processing of the information that comes to you is very important. So you have to make your own decisions based on the inputs that you get from police, from people, from other places, from army headquarters. That you know, it was for them. It was only a hut is on fire. It was a small thing to begin with. Maybe they also could not understand, but it was right in the arms depot. It was blown out. It was like fire in the refinery. It went on for days in Jaipur. So in these such ticklish situations where there is no straitjacket solution, now, Mehrangarh tragedy, we lost 214 people in that tragedy. It was
Yeah.
huge loss for Jaipur.
Yeah.
And the way we handled the dead body, the way we processed it was again something very moving, very, very moving. And I think as a leadership position, you have to take a lead to towards both in management as well as having building up a vision for that place long term. You have to start preparing the people for the development that can happen. Maybe not immediate, but then you have to start paving and working towards that.
Right. So what I hear very loud and clear in all the instances that you quoted is that the connect or the relation with people is very, very critical. I think prima facie, that is what works. And that also takes time because that trust needs to be established, where people know that here is a lady who's standing for us and she is working for our betterment, and that vision that you just spoke about, I think. So I think that's very, very important, right?
Very important because the Koda murder case happened when I took over Ganganagar. It was just about, I think, a week or so. And Ganganagar is a bordering Pakistan. I just decided, I said, let me just go and review the border situation. They have about, I think, 20 kilometers of border with Pakistan. So I was on the border when I was new to the staff. I was new to the district. The staff driver comes and tells me that murder has taken place of Koda. There's a message. See, normally crimes and murder, the information goes to police. I said, okay, but sooner I realized, I started asking. I said, who is this Koda? He said, it's a communist leader. I said, how much industry is there in Ganganagar? I wanted to know how much following he has. So he had a following of this, and I knew it. And meanwhile, then I contacted the SP, and I said, I'm coming back straight to your office. Meanwhile, move all the people who are there who are concerned. I said, get them the important leaders who were involved. I said, we'll have a chit chat. And we had a talk. They said next year they will dispose of the body. And next year when they went, they were going around to the Communist Party office. And then they refused to take the body for the cremation. They sat in the center of the town with the dead body, refusing to cremate. The huge law and order, everything was stuck, came to a standstill, and 3 days they were there. we started negotiating. We were negotiating. 2 days I did not go home also. I was physically in my office day and night. Third day morning I went, and finally, I didn't want the crowd to get violent, because violence will bring in greater harm. So we were trying to, mitigate. Okay, something has happened bad. Okay, we are sorry for it, or somebody's fault. But then things have to go on. So then finally we made them agree on the third day, and they did, and it was quiet. So the press came to call me on me. I was the first lady collector for that border district. And after the Kodakand, the headlines of the paper was "Pratham Pariksha mein pass hui hamari jilla collector."
Okay.
And from there I knew it, the way it was written, Pratham Pariksha mein, I felt as if you have to give yourself, test yourself again and again. And these are challenges. Every situation, you have to prove yourself. And particularly as a women officer, you have to work doubly hard to prove yourself. But the very fact they mentioned Amari Jilla Collector, that sense of ownership was there. Their involvement, that means you have become acceptable to them. I knew it. But I had good relations with press, with media. I could share information. A lot of time, officers, there's always a gap. So they are very critical of what is happening of government and how programs are there. But
Yeah.
I feel if you share information and build up bridges, yes, nothing is perfect. Even in the present day schemes or our times, you may not get 100% results. But the idea is your efforts, your intentions should try to achieve what is achievable. And so I think again, relations matter. It's a story, it's a human story. Behind every file, there is a life connected to it.
Yeah. True.
You have to see it that way. And I have seen in administrative positions, you can make miracles happen. You actually can make miracles happen. I'll narrate you a story, where one lady came to my office. I was posted in Bikaner as a command area commissioner, and she crying. I said, "What happened?" So the staff told me that she's come to meet you. So she said, I have, she was with the child. I've not eaten food for last 3 days. I said, what happened? She said, no, my husband was working in this office and I have not, he died and I have not got his dues. I said, okay, you have food, and it was 10 years old case. I said, okay, have food, and because it was 10 years old, I'll have to see the file. Please come after 4 or 5 days. And I said, and she returned back to me. Meanwhile, I had traced out this file. Now, this file was about her husband who was working in the office. And there was an inquiry going on, and the allegation was that he got his job through false certificates. And, instinctively, I wanted to help this lady. But looking at the file, I know, or a fake certificate, how does one uphold that? It'll be almost impossible. But somehow I wanted to find a way out. So I took that file. I said, you send it home. I want to just study it. I took it, studied for 2 days. And then I marked certain queries and sent it to the law advisor in the department. The query that I raised was, there is an inquiry against him. Allegations are there of false certificates. And he dies during the inquiry. The inquiry is closed and his dues are not given. I put a question that he did not get an opportunity of hearing. It was not proven that it was false. It is one-sided decision. So they said, who will reopen it, madam? What do you mean, who will reopen it? I will do it. So I said, you write what you feel like. Whatever your understanding of the file is, please do. And they came back to me. I reopened the case. I said, no, we cannot punish a person or a family on one-sided thing. His documents are not proven. He is no more. and I released all the dues to him, and the lady got 11 lakhs. And there's also a provision that she gets a job as dying in harness. So I put
Okay.
her in office. I gave her employment. She was very weary. What will I do? I said, no, nothing. You sit here. Whatever training you get, whatever you pick up, we'll do accordingly. But now you just serve water to the visitors. So she was taken in as a peon. I said later on, whatever training, whatever you pick up according to education, I said I'll do. Then I was also in charge of housing, then the government housing. So I gave her a house. She was staying with the brother. I said, well, here is a house. You live with your son, put your son in a school, put your amounts in the bank deposit, and you. So I think I was very happy the way she's still working there. And something that you could do, change their lives, I think
Yeah.
something very rightfully, I think it's a tremendous satisfaction to me.
I can sense that fulfillment as you are talking, and I'm sure that is what has kept you going.
Yes.
But tell me something, wasn't it scary at times? Because, like you said, it was taking decisions, making decisions spontaneously. And here we are talking about masses. We are talking about people who are high on emotions. So it could be it could go anyway. These are people who may not have as much, who are not educated, who just are so pressurized by their grievances, by their challenges, and they just can't sense what is right, what is wrong at that point in time. And then you making a decision. Did you ever feel that, what if it doesn't work, or how am I going to deal with it?
Number of occasions. I'll give you one occasion. When I was divisional commissioner at Fair, there was a dispute in Bhilwara. Bhilwara, the dispute was when the Muslims take out taziyas.
Okay.
There is a traditional route in the district when they take taziyas.
Yeah.
So the district collector that year had changed the route by the objection from the temple authorities कि हमारे मंदिर के सामने से जाते हैं. A big dispute, law and order problem. We went, we negotiated, nothing with the local MLA, nothing worked out. Next time, the taziyas were to be out. I was enjoying my tea and suddenly I find IG. Police said, no, there are 2,000 people collected there and I'm going to the spot. Then I also felt, because I am also more action oriented, I would say, I don't hesitate. So I told the driver, I said, okay, let's go to that. I got ready. And my driver had not even kept a stick, my gunman, although they're supposed to keep in a law and order situation, nothing was there. And I just went. I went to the spot, everybody in proper gear, the police, people are there, people on the rooftops, both the sides, and a big crowd of people. So I looked at and said, what am I going to do? First, very,
Ma'am, your voice has gone very low. I can't hear you now.
The whole situation was very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then I went and I talked to a few people, because when the mob is there, the tempers are high.
Yeah.
And anything can happen. We were already in a very aggressive mood. To me personally, it doesn't matter, it is going in front of temple or not. You should have followed the traditional route. Okay, India is a secular country and every religion has a right to do certain things. We have, Hindus have their own festivals, Muslims have their own festivals, Parsis have their own festivals. So each community has their own festivals. So by the time I put them into negotiation in the temple, I said, let's sit there and we'll talk. So I said, two or three leaders from each section can come and we'll put them. So look, sort it out. And by the time, people got a little tired, mentally also you have to deal with these people. You can't be very aggressive and violent. You have to retain your cool. You have to retain your calm, but you have to act wisely. So people got tired, they started going into the house. These 6 people got into conversation. And I get a message there. There's a place about, I think, 15 kilometers from there, uh, Bhilwara. It's in the same district. कि वहाँ also there is a law and order situation और घर जला दिए. So that looked more severe. I said,
Yeah.
we'll put the local administration here and let's go. We went there. By the time we went, and everything on fire. It was too much. I said, how can the fire and people running? And IG asked me, because they have to take orders for shooting. So he said, can I do the gunfire? I said, please, we have to disperse and gunfire is okay. I said, but don't do it on the crowd because we don't want any damage. He did a gunfire to disperse the people. The fire was put off. We started assessing the damage and we could recover quite a bit of the situation which could have gone worse. So we came back and they came here with the negotiations. We settled this also and very calmly. I feel this was an issue of communal harmony because Hindu-Muslims issues be very touchy,
Yeah.
complicated, complex, and it can go anywhere. Muslims, the minority is there, the minority is how you treat, and Muslims have that majority complex. It's very difficult to bring them together, but we were able to do that. I feel, again here, I would feel in such a situation, these situations arise very often, many times.
Yeah, true.
So the district administration has to play a very, very neutral role. One, highly objective, giving space to every community, every space, and you have to announce both by your words and deeds that you are for people as a whole. You are not, I may belong to a certain community, but I'm not going to advance the interests of only that community. As a collector, is a public position, you are playing a public role. The people's needs has to be there that whatever you do will be in the best interest of people. I think that building up that credibility itself is a very, very important thing.
I wanted to ask you, ma'am, there is a lot of satisfaction, fulfillment that I hear as you talk. I want to know, what does happiness mean to you?
Uh, I think very important part of life, happiness. We all seek happiness. We all seek fulfillment in whatever we do. A lot of people have expectations focusing only on academic life or the careers. Yes. A lot of people focus on families and less on career. A lot of people who focus on their other interests. It could be any. But for me, happiness is something I think you need to keep a balance in life. Everything becomes very important. Your work is important, your family is very important, your children are important, your time is important. You need to call out space for your own interests, which I have done. I did it. Because when I go to painting, I don't want anybody to disturb. But the family has to cooperate to enable me to pursue the interest. And they do. They encourage a lot. So happiness is something where you derive joy. You feel you are well off doing that thing. Or it could be any. It could be any of your passion.
Yeah.
Whether it's gardening, cooking, reading, writing, painting, or whatever it could be. For me, keeping that balance gives me a lot of happiness. Lot of happiness. And I've pursued my interest as well, which is almost akin to my second career and probably
Yeah.
a career after my retirement. And I have enjoyed every bit of it in my professional life as well. Every bit of it. I've enjoyed working with people. I've enjoyed learning from people. and they all give you a sense of fulfillment and happiness, I think. If you lead a very simple life, do not complicate your lives. If we do not go into for very, very, I would say, complicated thinking, keep it very simple. Simple and be good to people. Be sensitive. Be empathetic. Be, do good to people. So even if you bring a smile on a child's face, I give him a chocolate, I think that gives you happiness. Gives you happiness. So doing good for others, whether in your professional life or personal life, and finding space and time to pursue your own interests that gives you happiness, I think that doubles it.
Wow, lovely. Great. So what I see is that you have chosen to be happy every moment. You've made your choices and taken the responsibility for your happiness yourself, rather than relying on others to make you happy, which is very, very beautiful. And I think that's where
I think in our daily lives we have to take opportunities to create happiness. Happiness is not something that you get, okay, it's sort of a in kind, it is lying here and you get it. No, you have to create happiness. You have to create moments of joy. You have to create moments to celebrate. Whether it's a child's birthday or a child's achievement or it is your own achievement, I think as a group, as we need to celebrate, take every minute to keep celebrating life. That is happiness.
Wow, lovely. Great. So thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing all these instances. I think for me, I was just sharing. I had goosebumps listening to all those instances that you faced, and you not just faced them. You made your decisions right then and there, with all the circumstances that were there. And I'm sure that those instances dealing with people helped you evolve as a person into a leader you are, building that love, that trust from all the people, and that is why people loved you. They thought that you were there for them. So amazing. Great. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for sharing all this. These were real valuable nuggets for us. I'm sure all the viewers here had an amazing time. And thank you so much. Such a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure for me as well. Thank you so much, Aastha.
Thank you. Okay.